All right, everybody, what's happening? I want to bring you a little bit of news that I found today that's quite interesting. We'll have a little bit of people picking process news involved with this. But something that just really needs to be addressed is just like Soviet Russia, T-Mobile right now is erasing links to Gateway Pundit articles. If you send them by text messages, they're doing this. So if you send them, if I send you a link, they'll erase it. It says here, Joseph Stalin and the Soviet communists were known for their airbrushing. In other words, they would take articles and just kind of remove things, use it for propaganda, however they needed to. And then you had, like, if a top official lost favor with Stalin, they were eliminated and airbrushed from society as if they never existed. They were doing this with, like, photographs and all that here and all. I mean, this is a good example right here, where that man was in that photograph and then later it wasn't. So just I'm doing old school right here because some of these pictures are getting on me about sharing like links and all that. So they watch me, and this is another interesting article. In response to illegals arriving in Pennsylvania, Governor Wolf sidesteps claims that children are passed through, and in his report, he does a sidestep action where he answers the question in a form of the where it actually makes it more. There's actually more questions than there are answers. He didn't answer anything. He just sort of like did a sidestep. So anti-lockdown protesters mauled by dogs and beaten with batons in Amsterdam. That's happening in Amsterdam. Now, if I'm not mistaken, didn't everybody say we want to go to Amsterdam? I wish I was in Amsterdam because we know what's all legal down there. Well, think about that. Think about that. How that all ties in with tyranny and being able to get control of citizens. They enabled the people to be able to be sort of like dumbed down and thwarted down by allowing all the illegal drugs and the prostitution to take place. And yeah, and then other things. They're doing sort of like the same thing over here. In other words, where it comes down to like how people are being demoralized through questionable behavior, as far as like with sexuality and just beliefs and all that stuff, and just their openness to do things that normally people wouldn't do, because it was sort of like we had a stigma behind it which kept people in check. So I definitely am a fan of freedom, but there are things that God doesn't want us doing for a reason. Uh, uh, you know, so, anyways, we'll move on from that. Twitter has suspended Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene after she asked AOC to apologize for Governor Ron DeSantis. She was smearing him. AOC was smearing Ron DeSantis, and then she goes down to Florida and hangs out. And then on top of that, makes some crazy weird Twitter post about how Republicans are just sexually frustrated and this is what's going on. You can see where her mind is at. Okay. Anyways, somebody who kind of like, you know, slept their way to the top. There's a lot of pictures from her in college that they've tried to scrub from the internet. And do 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 do. Let's see. I'm gonna come up a little bit here, and then Pastor Arthur Pawlowski. Now he is was a preacher in Canada, and he's the one that like was running off police and standing up and doing all this stuff. And he was one of the first ones that was arrested for practicing his the religion, and they were trying to use these tyrannical mass mandates to do such. And this was a peaceful protest outside the Ministers of Health's home. No dissent allowed. No dissent allowed. Okay, this is all the stuff that we need to remember what's happening, because this doesn't always stay put where it's at. Just like when everybody's like, oh, the people that are harvesting organs down there in China, just let them be. They're doing that down there in China. It ain't going to happen over here. Just leave them alone. Let them make the cheap products. Everything will be okay. Well, Mr. LeBron James and your Nike tennis shoes, dummy. You just wait and see, because we're already seeing bleed over from other tyrannical governmental situations that's trying to take place. So look at New York and what they're trying to mandate, and how they're going to try to lock people up for medical, saying that they're a medical threat to society. Any kind of don't you remember, mental state is a medical situation. They consider mental health. Why do you think they kept going in that direction with mental health and medical? Mental health is medical, to put everything together. So say, for instance, if you have somebody who decides that they want to maybe think for themselves and not go with the narrative, they're going to call that person crazy, and that could be a mental health issue, and that could be a health issue to society, which means they can incarcerate you for an extended period of time and with no due process, no justice. This is going to be voted on in January in New York City, by the way. Okay? All right. It's official. California is now universal by mail state. Be careful with my words. Now you got to remember, Newsom was they should have by really what was going on. Larry Elder should be running that place right now, but they did something. I ain't going to say what it is, but all we know is Gavin Newsom right now is still in power, and he is definitely taking full advantage of that by saying it's universal vote in by mail. I'm gonna come on, man. I didn't watch my words that time, but anyways, I'll give it a good old come on, man. Let's see. Let's get down here a bit more. I'll try not to run people to death. And then, and I'm going to try to link this video. Hopefully I can make it work. I'm going to do my best. If not, there'll be a link in the description. You need to check this out. Katy Perry, in one of her debut concerts, Katy Perry pops out of a giant toilet. I swear to you. Gushes over talking face mass in Las Vegas performance. Now, I'll read a little bit about this, and I'm going to link the video. You're going to get this is crazy. But anyway, at least she's calling it like it is. But it's not very often that crap comes out of the toilet. Usually it goes down the toilet. But Hollywood is a sewer, literally. Pop singer Katy Perry popped out of a giant toilet this week. Her debut play performance in Las Vegas, Nevada. About 15 minutes into Perry's performance, she emerged from a giant red toilet, climbed down a toilet paper display, and made her way across the stage. And I've got one word for that: overflow. Overflow. Say for instance, when your turd rises to the top because you've got overflow, you immediately always go for the quick shut-off valve located on the left-hand side of your toilet coming down off the float bowl. If you'll cut that lever off when you see it coming up, your Katy Perry probably won't float onto the floor, okay? So just a little bit of advice for anybody that has problems with Katy Perry's floating up. Cut that valve off. And so, I'm going to do my best to link this. Katy Perry also worshipped a giant talking face mask to show her allegiance to the Chicoms, by the way. This is true. Quote unquote, hey, Mr. Maskey, geez, Louise, look around. This place stinks, huh? Katy Perry says, because we all know if a mask won't filter a fart, it darn sure ain't going to filter the daggone whatever they talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Whoa, 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 I don't smell, the mask replied. That's because the mask is retarded. Masks don't have smelly things. But the mask she's talking to this thing, says, I know you're a really big deal. I mean, I don't want to say it out loud, but maybe you're like more famous than me now, is what Perry said. She is glorifying this and putting a face mask over top of her humanality to demoralize humans, okay? So, thanks for sticking with me through this video. Didn't intend for it to be this long, but man. And, were undocumented papers for the people pick. This is pretty cool. Were undocumented papers for the reasons for the VER at the Detroit's TFC Center. I literally watched thousands of verified papers get run through the counters, the calculators. I probably won't link the video of Katy Perry because I'm thinking about it now because they got on to me about sharing some videos and copyright strikes. So I'm going to just let you go to the link on it. Check it out. It's on the thing. And so we know what happened there. So let me go back up here to the top. Members of the Democratic Party, Democratic poll workers, supervisors, and officials allegedly intimidated, removed, and obstructed GOP and nonpartisan challengers, and most importantly, refused to record their challenges. Like when they seen something that wasn't right, they were not jotting it down, making it known so that people could go back and research. By risk of actions which could amount to felonies under Michigan law, why weren't they so determined to shut down the duly authorized challengers? What were they trying to hide? Just like, I was going to read this and it gets messed up. The short and most obvious answer might be the VER. Certainly, challengers' affidavits are replete with allegations of every kind of fraud, from workers filling out blank ballots to tabulations of papers from other counties. but there was a type of or more substantially an election law violation that could protect the that occurred at significant magnitude to see the magnitude to move the needle in Michigan. I'm sorry, reading too fast. During the painstaking process of peeling back the onion layer one at a time, investigators came upon recurring observations by GOP and nonpartisan challengers that frequently encountered papers of not found in the electronic poll book of the paper supplemental list of the late registered registered Vs. On the surface, this might not appear to be anything out of the ordinary. Indeed, there can be problems during a busy choosing, and few V's and the B's will occasionally slip through the cracks and fail to make it into one of the list of eligible V's. But man, the amount is just amazing. So they're only allowed a certain percentage, which is 0.6%. We're talking about 15, 14, 18% problems. So that's something to think about there. So things are rolling along. We still got some stuff happening. You can hear the 11-meter band rolling on, boy. Well, I talk all over the place. I was talking, this is, while I'm digging through some of this stuff right here. Last night, the skip conditions were rolling along the 11-meter band and just real minimal power with a decent antenna. I'm talking all the way to Washington, Wisconsin. I talked to Ontario, Canada last night, which is minimal power. It's just crazy. Stock radios, just using the stock power and using a decent antenna. Antenna is all about any kind of communication when it comes to radio propagation. Oh my goodness. I just ran across this right here. This is CNN. Drunk Don Lemon asks woman if her New Year's resolutions means chaining people to the bed. CNN anchor Don Lemon asked woman if New Year's resolution meant chaining people to the bed during New York celebration in New York. Oh, I'm sorry. During the NYE celebration in New Orleans Friday night. I'm just reading this. First time reading it, so bear with me. Drunk Don Lemon slurred his words as he repeatedly asked the female guest if chaining people to the bed is one of the New Year's resolutions. Now, hold on a minute. Now, let's go back and think about the other reporter from CNN who had a dead hooker in his room, in his office, supposedly hit her head multiple times. And also all the other child allegations that's been going on. It's just like you can't make this stuff up. These people are awful. They're totally not molestation, child trafficking ring. So that's really a good thing. Thanks, CNN, for being so wonderful with human rights. And the woman replies, only if I'm a good girl. Holy crap, dude. CNN also ended their year by posting fake perverted tweets on their screen that somehow made it past the editors. Yeah. You need to Google that. I can't put the video up, but if you'll Google perverted tweets sent by CNN, what ended up happening was nobody's watching this stuff. So the only people that are usually watching this are the people trolling CNN. And they went on there and tweeted, oh my goodness, you just got to see it. It was a rough year for CNN. At least one producer was sacked for luring girls and sexual observance training, and the ratings war. Even Fox drew more liberal viewers than CNN in 2021. December, CNN fired their top host, Chris Cuomo, after he was accused of aiding his brother and Andrew Cuomo of ongoing sex scandals. So yeah, dirty CNN. All we need now is we need more CNN people. You're going to see more stuff come out with all this stuff, man, because, you would think that they would tighten their act up, being that everybody's all over them right now. But this dude over here is doubled down. Oh, it's so crazy. Anyhow, I'll see if I can find one more article. I'll end this super long video. I just want to thank everybody so much for being out here. I want to thank Shannon at Devoted Patriots. I want to thank This Way Network that's coming out, the Romeo Michaels show, and just lots of good stuff. And let's see here, there's let me see if I can find this one other article I found before I get out of here. And wow, I just ran across this one here. Let's see. Tommy Robinson and 40 UK patriots defend victim's family against child rape gang. Apparently, let's read into this and I'll get out of here. Yesterday, he had an appeal to British patriots to come to the aid of one victim's families who were being threatened and intimidated in the town of Telford, where one of the most depraved rape gangs was located. How does this happen? Telford police confirmed 3 separate incidents in Telford on Thursday, December 30th. 2 of these were suspects of arson and an incident of criminal damage. Robinson released photos of attacks on the victims' cars, houses, meant to intimidate witnesses from testifying against these people. So, wow. They came up there. That's what we need. We need more people like that. We need more patriots standing up for our rights and for, not for our. They need to stand up for their rights. We need to stand. People, if you stand for yourself, you won't fall for everything. Stand for yourself, y'all. Long story short, when you see things that aren't right and something that doesn't make any sense, don't just turn your head, walk away, and hope it goes away, because it's going to inch a little bit closer to you. Before you know it, it's in your back door. So always stay on top of things. Never try your best to be diligent when people are doing wrong and you see wrong. I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in. This has been a wonderful episode. Lots more to come. Thank you so very much. It's been a wonderful beginning of 2022. Lots of love. Thank you, everybody. Have a good afternoon and a good week ahead. God is in control.